Hello and welcome to the Tennessee Informer. I'm your host, Dave Vance. Thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight's guests are Brandon Taylor and Lawrence Sutton, the Chair and Secretary of Lawrence County GOP and host of their own radio show every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on WDXE Radio in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. They'll be with us in just a moment, but first it's time for our announcements and updates. Robin Steeman with Moms for Liberty will be speaking at the Stewart County GOP meeting this Thursday, 6:30 p.m. at the Stewart County Visitor Center, 117 Visitor Center Lane off Highway 79. If you're concerned about what ideologies children in Tennessee schools are being exposed to, come and find out for yourself. You do not have to be a member to attend, and there is no charge. The Tennessee Firearms Association annual fundraiser is September 9th in Lebanon, Tennessee at the Wilson County Fairgrounds. The keynote speaker is Donald Trump Jr. Go to TennesseeFirearms.com and click on annual event to purchase your tickets. You do not have to be a member to do so. Keep in mind that there are very few tickets left. This thing is just about sold out. If you want our state to step up and push back on our overreaching, often unconstitutional federal government, visit TNCSS@Weebly.com. TNCSS is Tennessee Citizens for State Sovereignty. Learn more about the nullification legislation we hope to get passed this session. There's no cost. It's an informational site, but we would like for you to click on the Substack tab to sign up. We need as many people as we can get to show support for this effort. Also on the TNCSS site, regarding the specific issue of nullification, I recommend the Handbook for We the People, Chapter 6, Nullification by Bob Hilliard, and the State of the Nullification Movement 2022 Annual Report by the 10th Amendment Center. The historical documentation in these two sources show that nullification was not only supported by the founders, but expected. Elected officials, especially at the state level, cannot uphold their oath to the Constitution without supporting nullification when it's required. Interposition is also explained in these articles. The American Revolution, well before it became a shooting war, started out with nullification and interposition. There are many other good links on this site as well covering constitutional issues. If you have an announcement from a conservative organization you want announced on this show, send the information to tninformer.tv@gmail.com the Friday before the show. The special session called for by Governor Lee began today in Nashville. Remember, Lee announced his intention to call a special session in order to pass a red flag law after the legislature refused to take up his bill in April. He made his formal proclamation on the 8th of August. However, instead of it containing just the issue of a red flag law, he listed 18 different topics to be covered. The fact that he still has a red flag law as his goal is evidenced by the inclusion of that topic in item number 12 in his proclamation. Some of the other things in his proclamation, matter of fact, I will read all of them for you. And these are just topics. It doesn't give details in his proclamation. Mental health resources, providers, commitments, or services. School safety plans or policies. Healthcare providers' duty to warn about potential violent offenses. Offenses of committing acts of mass violence or threatening to commit acts of mass violence. Reports from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation regarding human trafficking. Identification of individuals arrested for felonies. Law enforcement access to criminal and juvenile records. Law enforcement access to information about individuals who are subject to mental health commitment. Information about victims of violent offenses. Stalking offenses. Measures encouraging the safe storage of firearms, which do not include the creation of penalties for failing to safely store firearms. And this is number 12. If any of these are going to become a red flag law, it is this one. Temporary mental health orders of protection, which must be initiated by law enforcement, require a due process hearing, must require the respondent to undergo an assessment for suicidal or homicidal ideation, must require law enforcement to prove its case by clear and convincing evidence, must require that an order of protection be reevaluated at least every 180 days, and must not permit ex parte orders. Ex parte orders, by the way, are those situations where there's a trial and the person being charged is not present and has no say until after the fact, which is very unconstitutional. Another thing to keep in mind, they talk about the order of protection being reviewed every 180 days, but there's no limit on how many times that thing can be extended. The transfer of juvenile defendants age 16 and older to courts with criminal jurisdiction, which must include appeals rights for the juveniles and the prosecuting authorities, limiting the circumstances in which juvenile records may be expunged, blended sentence for juveniles, offenses related to inducing or coercing a minor, the structure or operations of state and local courts, and of course appropriations for all of these. As of Monday morning, August 21st, the legislators have filed 102 House bills, 14 Senate bills, 24 House joint resolutions, 74 joint resolutions, and 10 House resolutions. Of the proposed bills, many of them have broad captions, and many of them can be amended to do things entirely different from the language contained in the bodies of the original bills. The risk for a red flag law remains present, particularly that there hasn't been that the primary goal of Bill Lee and several legislators going back to April of 2023. If you can't make it to Nashville, encourage your reps and senators to vote to adjourn. Historically, special sessions, when called, have been limited to 1 or 2 items that might result in a handful of bills. The following is taken directly from the Tennessee Constitution in regards to special sessions being called by the governor. This is Article 3, Section 9. He may, on extraordinary occasions, that doesn't mean just because you didn't get your way, by the way, convene the General Assembly by proclamation, in which he shall state specifically the purposes for which they are to convene. But they shall enter onto no legislative business except for that which they were specifically called together. Apparently, extraordinary in our Constitution has no meaning, and the word specifically has no limits either. Section 10 coincidentally says he shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. I think he's failing in that area in a huge way. So this governor seems to have very little regard for our rights or our Constitution. He apparently believes our right to keep and bear arms are non-essential, just as he declared many of our jobs to be non-essential during COVID. He has no problem violating the clear intent of our Constitution. And now we have our guests with us for tonight, Brandon Taylor and Lawrence Sutton from Lawrence County GOP. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, I appreciate you having us on.
Hey, thanks, Dave. Appreciate you having me on as well. I just get to jump in here with Lawrence every now and then. He's the guy. I'm just the guy I'm the tag along. Okay?
I don't know about that. I mean, we're pretty much, we're pretty much a team, I guess you would say.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, I think you guys are a pretty good team. I've watched several of your shows. You guys do a great job.
Well, buddy, I know, and I greatly appreciate that, and you know how much we think of you too. I mean, I just tell you, I feel blessed that God has put you in our lives.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to know you guys as well. And I do think that we all have to work together, not only on this issue, but a lot of other issues in our state. So what have you heard from your representatives? Have you heard about this session for tonight? I don't think that they did anything tonight other than open up the session. It really gets busy tomorrow once the bills all start going through the committee. But have you gotten any updates in the last couple of hours?
No, I haven't gotten any updates in the last couple hours, Dave, but I do have Kip Capley that is calling me on the phone right now. Hey, Kip, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, brother. How are you?
Doing good. Can you hear Kip at all, Dave?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay, good. Well, Kip, you're live on the radio with us, with the Tennessee Informer and Dave Vance.
Awesome. Good deal. Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Pretty good. Hey, I wanted to get you on the show. I didn't know it'd be by phone, and I didn't know it'd be tonight, but that's great.
Well, Kip's probably calling in, because we were on his program and the hour before,
right?
And he's probably wanting to make sure we didn't blow up his radio program for him, never knowing what we're going to say.
Yeah, I'm just calling in. We just got out of session, so I'm not really going to make any comments as of right now about today. I just wanted to call in, let everybody know that a lot of comments were made on the floor by the liberal left, and their big concerns were obviously in this new rules package that was bipartisan, by the way, that was passed today and that we voted on, that their voices were being silenced by this new rules package. But I want to remind everyone that the intention of the left is to silence everyone's voice but their own.
Absolutely.
Amen, brother. Preach it.
And the state of Tennessee does not accept that behavior.
That's right.
So that's why we passed the rules that we passed today, so that every representative, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a Republican, I don't care if you're the party of Mickey Mouse. If you want to speak and you represent 70,000 people, then you're going to do so in a nice, calm, respectful manner, and you're going to have decorum. If you're not, then you're going to be shut down.
Boy, I tell you what, I'm sorry, Dave. I mean, you probably got a great representative representing you, but I think between Kip Capley and Clay Doggett, we got the best representatives in all of Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, Kip. Amen to that.
I mean, I'm going to tell you something. Kip is 26 years old. He's 4 years older than my son. And I love this young man. I honestly love this man. And he is so good for our state.
Yes, he is. Thank you for all you're doing up there, Kip. We appreciate you, my friend.
I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm sorry I got to run. I just wanted to call in, and we'll talk more about everything that's going on. But
hey, are you? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Are you by Clay at all?
No, I'm in my truck.
Oh, okay. Clay tried calling me. I'm gonna call him right back. Then we'll get him on the air too, if you don't mind, Dave.
No, that's fine.
No, go.
That's fine.
God bless y'all. God bless the state of Tennessee. I appreciate y'all.
Hey, thanks for coming on, and I want to get you on some other time, like right after your show, because your show plays the hour prior to mine. So I'd love to have you on sometime, not just on the phone. So if we can work that out, that'd be great.
Hey, we can because they've already done it. We've got it all set up now.
Good deal.
All right, buddy. I'll see you in the morning. All right.
Good deal.
Bye. All right, sorry about that, Dave, but I figured you'd want to hear that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You know, I want to hit on something that he said. You know, they have to do all these special things because the left doesn't know how to act. And like I think you said earlier, they want to shut everybody down. They shut every voice down that doesn't agree with them. So, but my problem with this whole thing is that Bill Lee has given the left this platform. You know, and this, of course, is on our dime. The taxpayers are having to pay for this. There's 18 different areas rather than just one or two specific, as the Constitution indicates there should be. To me, this is an abuse. This is an abuse, and it's also a waste of money. But this is going to help the left fundraise. That's one of the things they're going to do off of this. And in the process, you know, what really irritates me is I think this is happening because way too many of our legislators, and not people like Kip and not people like my representative either, Jay Reedy, he's not one of those. We got a lot of people that feel like it is their job to do whatever the governor wants, to kiss the governor's butt. In the process of it, they're also, in this scenario, they're kissing the butt of these radical leftists and giving them a platform. I hope this thing gets adjourned, but I think you know that that's not going to happen, and we can talk a little bit about that.
Well, you know what? And I got Clay Doggett on the phone now, too. Clay actually called in, and we couldn't take it earlier. So how are you doing, Clay?
I'm okay. How are y'all doing?
Doing good, buddy. We got you on with the Tennessee Informer with Dave Vance. We're on until 7 o'clock, but you know, I knew you couldn't call into our radio program, but I figured you could still let everybody know what's going on and what's happening in Tennessee up there with the legislator.
Well, sure. We just finished up session just a little bit ago, and tonight basically all we did was went over some rule changes and had the first reading of the bills. Senate came in, and from what I understand, they were there for about 20 minutes, and they finished up. But we had made some rule changes on our side, so that took a couple hours of debate, it seems like. But just finished up and heading home now.
Awesome. Have you seen anything at all that is that's worrisome to you right now?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of bills that are worrisome, but I don't know that nothing has been assigned to committees yet, so I don't know where they're going to be heard, if they're going to be heard in, the criminal committee, or if they're going to make it to a different committee or what. So we'll find that out in the morning as to where they're going.
Now you are, tell everybody what committee you head up and what your job is.
I'm the chair of the Criminal Justice Subcommittee, and so that committee is set to meet at some point tomorrow after floor session in the morning. So we'll have that committee meet, and any bills pertaining to criminal matters or criminal procedure will go through that committee. One that is of a lot of interest to folks is this DNA collection bill that the governor has put forth, and so that's one that I know for a fact is going to end up coming through the committee that I serve on. And basically, what it is, it's if you're arrested for any felony offense, you will have your DNA swabbed upon arrest. So not necessarily on the street or in your yard or wherever you were actually physically taken into custody. You would be swabbed once you got to jail. As they get the mug shot and the fingerprints, they would do a DNA swab of your cheek to get that information.
What kind of reception is that getting? I hope it's not getting a very good reception.
It is not getting a good reception at all. And Dave, if you go back and look at what someone can be charged with a felony for, I mean, it's a lot of things. People think about, well, you killed somebody or you did this, you aggravated assault. Most of the time it's violent crimes. Now, current law already says for certain violent offenses and sexual offenses, a person can be have that DNA swab, but it's really without the conviction. They can do it upon arrest, but that's really more of a kind of like a gathering evidence type situation. What we're talking about is with this bill, you're going to see that someone arrested for a felony, whether it was writing a bad check, you had insufficient funds in your checking account, and you mailed your house payment in on a check, and it ends up bouncing. That's a felony. You can be arrested. You can be charged with that. So you would have to do the DNA swab. What they do is they take that information, they stick it in the CODIS system, which is accessible by all 50 states. All 50 states can pull these markers, these DNA markers on you, and run it through their system to see if you have committed a crime in another state that they have unknown. So that's what they are wanting to do, is to use this DNA sampling to do that. I've advocated if you're going to do it, it needs to be done after conviction.
After conviction, yes.
After someone's been convicted. But that's not of interest to the governor's, his thoughts anyway.
It sounds like they want to build up a huge database of everybody for everything. And I've got another question. Because there are so many things on this, 18 different topics and now over 100 some bills filed, are a lot of the legislators, I would hope they would be upset that rather than your typical historical and constitutional, very limited extraordinary session, which requires extraordinary circumstances, unlike this one. Are they irritated that he loaded it up with so many topics, or any of them? Have you heard much about that?
Yes, that's been the conversations that we've been having. Is that what you end up seeing with 18 different topics? The governor only wanted 5. That's what he had told, from what I understand, a working group that had been working on this issue with him, going through and giving suggestions and advice, and he only wanted five topics, but he listed all the others just to because other members had asked, specifically item number 12, which is a red flag law,
Right.
and ERPO, Emergency Orders of Protection. He had told the working group that and other legislators that he was not going to do that, but yet you see that in the call is that there is an order of protection listed in there.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and I tell you, I'm not happy at all with, and we discussed that on the last show. I mean, we have 100+ bills, so we're going to throw all this crap on the wall. It seems like to see what's going to stick or not. And I'm going to tell you something, Dave. You know, and you heard me say this when we had Kip on just now. You know, in my opinion, we got the two best legislators in the state of Tennessee, and Kip Capley and
That's right.
and Clay Doggett.
I agree with that.
I mean, I think the world of both of these men, and I'm so glad, Clay, that you're up there representing us, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow, buddy.
Well, hey, I appreciate it, and you know, I'm looking forward to seeing y'all. It's always great to see familiar faces when we're up there. So tomorrow's going to be an interesting day, and you know, and I hope me saying this doesn't incite the crowd, but you know, it wasn't what I anticipated anyway today. As far as the crowds go, I was anticipating a lot larger number.
So was the crowd a lot better than what you guys experienced on March 30th?
Well, you know, we did not see them, for one. Now, I was told that there was a good crowd outside the Capitol, out on the Capitol grounds, but I did not see them, nor did I hear them out there, whereas back earlier this spring, it was so crowded you couldn't walk through. So one of the things that we had done was fire marshal and some others had come in, you know, while we were out of session and did some assessments and saw where, you know, based off of the, you know, the number of people that were on the second floor, you know, there was too many people up there back during March and April. So that, you know, they made recommendations. So troopers have a counter when you come through. They're counting people to see how many you have that are coming through, and they have a limit. I think the limit is 500 people or what have you on the second floor. So that's where they're at, I think. And so that drastically cut down on a lot of the noise, and so that was nice tonight anyway.
So what did, Clay, this is Brandon Taylor. Good to talk to you, buddy. What did you actually get to vote on? I mean, what actually happened? What was the vote tonight?
Well, we had two votes. We had a vote on the rules, and then there was a vote to suspend the rules by Brian Ritchie. The vote to suspend the rules would bring up, I'm not sure if it was a resolution or a motion for a recess, but those were the two votes.
Okay.
How did the vote?
Happened?
I'm sorry.
Oops. What happened with the vote on the recess? How did that go over?
There were six that voted for the motion to suspend the rules.
Okay. All right. Well, Clay, thank you so much. Do you have any other questions, Dave?
No, but I do. Hey, I have to agree. You guys certainly have some of the better legislators in the state, certainly with Clay. And hey, you know, Kip is doing a great job, but he's a freshman. We might not want to put too much on him. We don't want his head to get big just yet. But I've been impressed by what I've seen so far, that's for sure. Oh,
don't worry. I'm going to tell you something about Clay Doggett. Clay Doggett will make sure that head won't get too big. You have no worry. And if it does, trust me, me and Brandon will put our foot in his butt. Yeah. We have no problem doing that.
We're putting a lot of work on you there, Clay, but we appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, buddy. Stay safe. And again, I can't look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much.
Hey, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Boy, I tell you what, Dave, we're just so blessed that, you know, that our legislators get out of session and they're calling us.
Yes.
I mean, we're nobody. I mean, we're these two dumb redneck, they probably even call us hillbillies even. We live on a hill, don't we,
That's
Brandon?
exactly right. We're hillbillies, I guess. We live up to that rumor.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather be a dumb redneck or a hillbilly compared to some of the other things we've been called.
That's right. That's right.
That's the cleaned up version, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I'm sitting here, I was sitting there thinking, when they're talking about the DNA samples and, mug shots and everything else, I was just thinking about all the mug shots I've seen of Brandon over the years. I mean, it starts when he was about 15. He had the mullet years, he had all these mullet. And then it's kind of funny, once he started cutting his hair, then the mug shots got fewer and further between, the mug shots.
Right.
Oh, with Dave, with friends like this, who needs an enemy? Right?
Absolutely. He takes care of both sides there for you all at once.
Good job.
Hey, you know what they say, don't you? A good friend is a friend that you will call to bail you out of jail. Okay? But
Right.
the great friend is the one that's sitting next to you in jail going, and, me and Brandon both are trying to keep out of jail, because I have a feeling if one goes, we're probably both going to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you going without me, Lawrence. That's for sure.
I'd probably have to watch Brandon's back if we went to jail.
Oh, Lord. Get me out of here, Dave.
So I've got something I want to raise. I know Brandon is a county chair. I'm a county chair in Stewart County, and of course you're the
we lost
secretary. Can you hear me?
Uh-oh.
Hello? I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
We got you now.
Yeah, we lost you. What were you saying?
Okay. So I know Brandon's the county chair there, and you're the secretary in Lawrence County GOP, and I'm the county chair here in Stewart County. I think, and I said this earlier in reference to Lee, and I'll just be honest, I have absolutely zero use for Lee. I think he's one of our worst governors ever. And I'm concerned because this is very early in his second term. He can't run again. I think he's showing his true colors. I think he needs to be thrown out of the party. I think he is more trouble than he's been worth. And the party doesn't exist just to support the guy who is nominally the leader of your state party. He's supposed to be supporting the platform, and right now he doesn't even support the Second Amendment.
Well, I got news for you. The bad thing is, and you already know this, Dave, we are filled up with, people want to use the term rhinos. Okay, rhinos what we use when we're talking about a Republican. And I like to use another name for them instead of rhinos. I call them reprobates. And when you come after our God-given rights, and they're given by God, not by government. And that's the one thing I want to stress. And you are one of the bigger and best constitutionalists that I know, Dave. You have taught me so much about the Constitution. But I'm going to tell you right now, when you are going after, the Constitution was probably the second best thing that's ever been written on this earth behind the Bible.
Right.
And when you take that and you start taking away our rights that God gave us, not man, not government, I have no use for you. And you are just like in Romans chapter 1, you are of a reprobate mind.
Absolutely.
Dave, I'm going to piggyback off that. You're talking about Bill Lee being a governor, and I've been using the term that he's gone rogue. So he's going against what the Republicans in this state are asking him to do. The SEC has voted. They give him a resolution to drop this movement, to unanimously to drop this special session. Everything about it has been a disaster. We just saw Justin Jones. He was actually just sworn in again 3 days ago. So he's got a political momentum he's carrying into this. Bill Lee, I put this square on the shoulders of Bill Lee. I know that there are other players in the game, but he has been the proponent for pushing this and ramrodding this special session through on the state of Tennessee. And I'll take it further than the fact, I agree with you, and I'll take it one step further. So I agree that he should be kicked out of the Republican Party. I tell my kids, I tell people that I'm around, if I'm a leader, either you lead by example or you'll be made an example. It's time to make Bill Lee an example and absolutely remove his name as being a Republican in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
And And for another thing, he's doing damage to the Republican Party. We're here tonight, and I mean, we're volunteers. Lawrence and I, we're volunteers. If people don't like what we do, then God bless you. We're not getting paid for it anyway, so don't think we're getting paid for something you don't like. We volunteer our time. We're out here trying to do what we can to promote freedom, to promote the Christian faith, number one, and to promote the freedom to be able to worship freely and live your life in freedom. And so I see these things happening. He is actually doing damage, though, to the Republican Party across the state of Tennessee that folks like you and I and Lawrence, we're going to have to work against. We're going to have to start trying to fix the damage that he's doing. And I'm not going to carry his water for him. The only way I see to fix the damage on this, Dave, is to just absolutely call it out for what it is. Say it. Let's be plain spoken about it. He is working. He looks like a Democrat.
Yep.
And it looks like a Democrat, walks like a Democrat, and talks like a Democrat. It must be a Democrat, Dave.
Right.
I agree. And if he has higher aspirations, and I don't know, maybe he plans on running at the federal level as a Democrat, or he certainly, if he plans on running as a Republican, it's the kind of Republicans that have gotten us in the mess we're in, if that's what his higher aspirations for office are. Or maybe he just knows he's not going to do anything else, and these are his true colors, and he's going to do everything he can between now and the time his time is up to move our state to the left, which is infuriating. And it's also more infuriating when it seems to be, like I said earlier, that our legislatures feel it's their job to cater to him instead of upholding the platform of the party.
You know, amen on that. But I'm going to tell you something. I got a little bit of hope for the folks of Tennessee, and I'm just going to tell you. I look at what the folks of Tennessee did to Al Gore. They got tired of Al Gore, and they wouldn't even vote for him for their president. I mean, think about this. If Al Gore could have won his own state, you know, the people that knew him the most, we would have had Al Gore as president. Yep. And so, Bill Lee, guess what, buddy? You're going to be Al Gored. Trust me.
Al Gored.
You're going to be Al Gored is what's going to happen with you.
I love that. That's an algorithm.
Yeah, I did that. Hey, that's redneck for trying to put it in plain speech. You know, we brought up a fact here earlier with Bill Lee, and I'm sure you're aware of this too, Dave. But I wanted to bring it to your listeners. And by the way, your listeners, I hope they realize how lucky they are to have you to give them this platform, because I tell you what, I learned so much. I mean, I get your podcasts, and you know, before I go to bed at night, you know, I'm turning in, I'm listening to your broadcasts, and I think you'll see I even comment on them and like your videos, because you do a great service to this state, Dave, even above and beyond the Tennessee Informer. But Bill Lee is part of the National Governors Association. I'm sure you've heard of this group, okay?
Yeah.
So
terrible group.
The terrible group. And the National Governors Association, and you know, excuse me, I gotta kind of look at my notes here, you know, on my phone and grab my glasses. Let me tell you some of the members in this group that Bill Lee is part of. You know, Bill Lee's part of with Gretchen Whitmer.
He's the chair. This guy is actually the chair. Bill Lee is the chair of the RGR.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, of the National Governors Association. Yeah.
That's correct. But you got Gretchen Whitmer on there with him. You got this lady, Kate Brown, the governor of Oregon, who has decimated gun rights for the state of Oregon. I mean, it is bad what she has done. You just have. My dad always said, "You are who you associate with," and he's associating. I don't see Kristi Noem on this list. I don't see Ron DeSantis. I don't see Governor Abbott on this list. And do you know who appoints these governors? You want to take a wild guess who's the appointing of these governors is?
No, I don't.
It's your good old buddy and who Brandon voted for in the last election, Joe Biden.
Oh, good Lord.
Brandon's over here looking like he's going to kill me right now, but he deserves it because he does it to me all the time.
If you're appointed by Joe Biden, that tells everybody all they need to know.
Amen. And that's what Brandon and I were talking about, is just the simple aspect. Brandon said it himself. There's no way even that Joe Biden would appoint Brandon to anything. But Brandon said even if he did, there's no way he could accept it unless God himself said you had to accept this.
Well, I'd be ashamed if Joe Biden appointed me to something. Not only would I not want to do it, I wouldn't want it to be known that he appointed me.
That's right. I agree 100%, Dave. I mean, the fact that he has put him on this, and he's just following suit with what these other governors are doing in their states. We shouldn't be surprised, Dave, actually, as we see this. And one of the things I want to touch on, and I've seen it, we started to kind of uncover it as this special session's going forward, is there is a real political machine at work in the state of Tennessee right now. And I'm a Republican. I mean, you're a Republican, Dave. But this is at work in the Republican Party, and it is a machine that is moving at a very fast pace. Lawrence and I trying to keep up with it, even going to the Capitol tomorrow. But I know you've seen it, and my thought and my prayer on this is that this political machine is going to be uncovered during this special session, or actually be exposed, I should say.
Well, it has been exposed. I want to, and I think you kind of led me in. So on purpose, right? Leading the horse to water.
I just went down to the water hole and you followed me.
Okay, I followed you. Guess what? I'm about to drink, baby. I'm going to drink. You're not just leading me to the water. I'm about to drink right now. So, Dave, over the weekend, I had conversations with a couple legislators, and I promised them that I would leave their names out of it.
Right.
Because of the reprisal of leadership. Leadership has actually gone after these legislators, and I imagine who they think that they can pick off. Okay.
Right.
And they have told the legislators that if you vote to adjourn, we will not let you carry any of your bills in to legislation.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you something. If it's not illegal, it has got to be right there at the very precipice of being illegal, in my opinion.
And this is not new. I mean, the leadership throughout, I'm sure over the years, I know others have done this. They will threaten you, they'll blackball you, and basically it works like, okay, if you don't do what we tell you, and let's say you're the chair of a committee, well, we'll take your chairmanship. Or maybe you're on a committee and that committee is important to you, they'll take you off that committee. The other thing they'll do is they'll make sure that your bills don't even get a second, because all the bills, and people need to understand this, all the bills that come through, whether a special session or not, they have to go through the committee process first. Everything lives or dies in committee. Generally speaking, and there are a few exceptions, but generally speaking, there's no surprises on the floor. If something's made it to the floor, it's usually going to pass. So, but you have to have a motion to hear your bill, then you have to have a second. Well, if they put the kibosh out on you, which they do sometimes, that's nothing new, then your bill gets nowhere. And so a lot of legislators, now, probably one of the reasons I've never run for office is the thought of being in Nashville every day with a lot of those people in a suit to boot just breaks me out in hives to think about it. Okay, but
okay, John Fetterman.
I can't see being told and being threatened and not just saying, hey, I want my district to understand that I've been threatened by leadership, because I would just I could not tolerate that. So I'll never run for office. But that's one of the problems. People need to understand that when leadership does that, they are basically, you can't get any more disrespectful to that representative or that senator's constituents than that right there. And that is something that needs to stop some way, somehow. I don't know how to do it. It's always gone on, but people are not aware of that. And that really irritates me when leadership does that. But that's nothing new, but it is a problem.
Well, you know what, Dave, I'm going to tell you something. And Brandon told me this one time before, and I'm going to pass on this to you, what Brandon told me one time. I don't think it's the fact that you go up there and you can't take it. I know for a fact you can. I just don't think that they could take you because you wouldn't put up with it. You absolutely would not put up with it. And I think it would be a scary situation. You know, if people have never been up on you like I have, you're a big man. And you know, and you're capable of violence, even though you're one of the most nicest, humble men I know. But I don't think, or I know that you would not be able to take that. And
Well,
but you know what?
that situation there, I mean, you know, I wouldn't be stupid enough to put myself in a situation to go to jail, but I would possibly be stupid enough to say the wrong thing and pretty much end my career prematurely, let's put it that way. But it is a problem. People need to understand that that's what happens up there a lot. And a lot of times people seem to care more about their chairmanship than they do doing the right thing and taking care of their constituents as well.
They do, and you know, I actually talked to one of the leaders that is on the chairmanship committee, and I'll give you the devil's advocate answer that was told to me, that if they jeopardize their committee, then the person that would get on that committee to either block these bills or be able to allow these bills to come through will not be as conservative as they are.
Right.
Now that may be a sellout answer. I can't look in that man's heart to answer that question, but I know when I brought up the same information to him, that's what he told me, and I kind of respect the guy. So it's a hard. Politics are dirty, which is why Brandon and I had not got involved. We should have been involved from the beginning, like you have over these last 12 years that you've been doing this and trying to protect our freedoms. But we're here now, and like Brandon always says, you don't go in with the army you want, you go in with the army that you got.
Right.
And you know, we're here to go in. We go in head first, and we do what we have to do.
Yes, absolutely. And we do need more people to get involved, and that's how you turn things around, is having more people that think like us get involved. And keep these guys honest. I mean, you know, it also works the other way, that they know that there's certain legislators that won't bend or won't break, but then they also know that in some cases, hey, look, we have to keep this guy here, so we have to, you know, you've heard about this before, okay, leadership wants X bill passed, but so-and-so can't vote for that bill because in his district or her district, if they do, they'll be toast because their constituents are involved and their constituents do keep tabs and they won't tolerate it. And they take that. And if more people in more districts were involved, it would just be better for all, in my opinion, especially at the state level.
Yes, sir. And that's what Brandon and I figured out. You know, we're late to the game. But we figured it out, and it's been a great learning curve for us, for sure.
Dave, I want to throw something in here. You're talking about the fact that we've got these legislators, and they're actually in the leadership pushing down on these different legislators, wanting basically, and let's be honest, they're calling for a postpone the vote, or they're calling to adjourn. And there's a lot of pressure coming down right now. We're hearing legislators talk about this. This may be exposed. I'm going to be encouraging any legislator that I know to go public with this. But there's a political machine rolling, and talking about what we can do, guys like Lawrence, myself, and you, we're involved in local county politics, and we're involved in the Republican Party on the county level. So one of the things we've been doing, Dave, is we want to get together with other counties. And as I came into this, I saw that the counties were not necessarily divided, but they just weren't united.
Right.
And they not against each other at all. They just weren't together at all. And so we've been trying to pull together several counties. We had a meeting with a group with about 12 counties on Saturday.
Yep.
Looking forward to putting together a regional group, and we need to get into East Tennessee. And I've actually been on the phone with some people today putting that together. But I'll put this out there, and I know you've got a lot of people that are in your listeners, in your listening range, that are Republicans, and they're involved in their county parties. What we need to be pushing for is our chairman or vice chairs or secretaries from those parties. We need a day during every regular legislative session. We just need one day out of that session where we go up there and we're on the floor and we're seeing these people and we're getting to know each other. We're waiting until there's an emergency or the governor declares an emergency, which is what seems to be the history now in local politics and in federal politics, is they tell us when there's an emergency, like we can't see one. And then we're trying to get together and we're scrambling. And it's almost like playing in a football term, we've almost fumbled the ball because we're not prepared for the next play. And if we could get together and we know each other, and I've met so many awesome people just like yourself throughout this special session coming together. And honestly, Dave, I don't know that I would have ever met you had the special session not happened, but it shouldn't have been under this circumstances.
Right.
No, it shouldn't, but that's how God works.
Yes. Well, and to take it a little bit further, you know, if you, and you may not know this since you're kind of new to this, but every October, November time frame, the caucus, the Republican caucus, which is all of our so-called leadership and all the Republicans that are in the House and Senate, they're going to meet and they're going to talk about legislation that they want to focus on for that upcoming session. If you wait until session to figure out, you know, we need to figure out now what we want, what the conservative GOP counties and districts want legislation-wise. And by the time they have their caucus meeting in October or November, if we can, we need to have already communicated that, hey, this is what we want, or this is what we want stopped, whatever the case might be. You have to be ready to hit the ground running when session comes, because before session opens, they're not just creating all these bills in session. Yeah, they're refining them, but they go into session with the full stack. And a lot of times what that full stack is things from different lobbyists, whether it's the Chamber of Commerce, or NFIB or whoever. They already, so if we're not filling up their schedule and they're taking, remember the House can only sponsor, each representative can only sponsor 15 bills. The Senate's unlimited. Of course, you have to have a sponsor for both the House and the Senate, but we need to, pretty quick and in a hurry, the conservatives need to get together in this state and say, hey, here are the things we want pushed in this upcoming session.
You know what? I tell you what I want. If you ask me, I want a lot less bills.
Yeah,
we need.
Yeah.
We don't need somebody going, oh, look at this bill that I got done. You know what? Because a lot of the bills are weak and feckless, and then they wind up getting a little bit stronger, and before you know, these bills that were weak and feckless are now communistic.
Right.
And we have too many bills. I would like to see legislators go up there and say, you know what, instead of me going up there and bringing 15 bills to the floor from different lobbyist groups, why don't I go up there and look for 15 bills to get rid, or not 15 laws to get rid of.
Yeah.
Let me go up there and find 15 laws that we no longer need, that are against our Constitution. I mean, who knows how many bills that we have up there currently right now that's even against our Constitution?
Oh, a bunch of them. I guarantee you.
So, yes, sir. So, you know, we tend to look at it a little bit differently, and I'm a guy that's always thought, you know, kind of outside the box. And I look at the fact that these guys, a lot of times they go up there trying to prove themselves based upon what kind of bills they can get passed. And all these bills do is they chip at our Constitution one bill at a time. One bill at a time. It's just sitting there as chipping at the Constitution of not only the United States, but also the great state of Tennessee.
Yep.
And I want to see these bills. I don't want to see more bills. I'd love to see them get rid of these laws that are already in place that are against our Constitution.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's most of our gun bills would fall under that category. You mentioned earlier, Brandon, about the people up there that are working against us, so to speak. You know that new song, the Rich Men North of Richmond?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great song. Yes. Great song. Anyway, we got to realize that there's a lot of rich men in Nashville that are complicit with those rich men north of Richmond. And we have to start finding ways to get rid of those people and put people in there that are going to not only push back on DC overreach, but we've got to do something about our addiction to federal dollars, being bribed with our own money. And that's like right now, as I see it, we're tethered to the Titanic. It's going to crash eventually. And all we seem to do is get more and more addicted every year to the federal government. And that needs to be reversed and in a hurry. And I know we can't do it overnight, but we got to start somewhere.
Amen. And that's the reason I love your fight with the 10th Amendment nullification. I love it. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. To me, and other people may disagree, but I think that is very important. And that's part of what I'm talking about. We need to get rid of these laws that we have right now currently on the books and not add more laws to the books.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Brandon, you are the county chair in Lawrence County, and from all accounts, you guys have a huge turnout every month. Now, I wish I could tell you the same thing, that I have a huge turnout every month, but that's not the case. But let's talk about your group a little bit, how you guys have been able to get so many people out.
Well, I think it's, I'm just going to be honest with you. When we start a meeting, we announce it and we say it publicly. We're not interested in being politically correct. We are interested in being biblically correct. And our meetings are open. People can come to our meetings if they want to.
Inside the courthouse.
As we're inside a courthouse, we believe that the citizens need to be taking our government buildings back. It's important where we have meetings. Just like these protests that are going on at the state capitol, it's important to them that they get in the state capitol, that they get in the halls, that they get in the seats. You take possession before you can take positions. So we're in these paid for by taxpayer buildings where we should be meeting. And when we get in there, we're trying to bring in speakers like our state reps. We're trying to bring in folks like Richard Archie from Tennessee Firearms Association. He's been a good friend. So we try to have folks that are coming there making the information relevant. Another thing we try to do, you can't always do it, we try to hold our meetings to 90 minutes or under. Sometimes that's a little bit of a challenge depending on what we have, but we've had our—
If you're having Richard Archie there, that's a challenge, but it's all good info.
Yeah, you got to bring Richard Archie into 90 minutes. It's hard to do, and he's throwing out great information.
Yeah.
But we try to do that, so we're not just on an unlimited time slot.
Right.
And also, we have a very low membership fee. It's $5 to come in and join up. And if you don't have $5, I'll just get Lawrence to pay it for you.
No, Jared Mins. No. Jared Mins.
I'm just going to throw Lawrence under the bus.
No.
But one of the things we want to do, Dave, is we want to enjoy what we do. If we're going to come in and we're going to do this, if I'm going to be the guy that's out here leading these meetings, I'm going to lead it in a way that in a meeting that I would want to attend. If I was someone that wasn't up on politics or didn't care that much about politics, but saw the need to be involved, then that's what we want to make our meetings relevant. And being able to get a hold of the radio show that we've been doing, we're sitting here in studio now. We just finished one radio show and then jumped on with you.
Right.
The Lawrence County Republican Party has actually sponsored that, paid for that radio time for us. And we've had an outpouring of support from legislators. We've had our Scott Desjardins, who is our on the federal scale for us. We've had Joey Hensley, Scott Sapicki. We've our Kip Capley, Clay Dog had already called in since we've been on the phone with you.
Yep.
We wanted to create a venue to where these guys who are conservative can get to their constituents and get their words to their constituents without the media throwing an angle or chopping and clipping up their words. And I think that's been part of our success is the fact that we want to be real. We're raw with people. We also try to have fun. If I'm going to do it, I've got a good life. It doesn't matter what happens. The Lord has blessed me. I've got a beautiful family, and I've got a great life here on this earth. Could things always be better? Sure. But I want to go out and say, you know what? Let's take what we have and let's make it better. There's always room for improvements. And one of the things I always share with people is Tennessee is the freest state in the freest nation on the face of this planet. And if Tennessee falls, it all falls.
Yeah,
we're the spirit.
Absolutely. We're the buckle of the Bible Belt. And that's why we're under attack on so many things. And I think a lot of people don't even realize a lot of the different angles that they attack us on. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to have Tom DeWeese on, and he's going to talk about Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, which some people are familiar with, but a whole lot of people, including a lot of our elected officials, have no clue, and that deals with property rights, among other things. So there's a lot of educating to do people on out, the people that need about all the different, the average person doesn't understand all the different ways we're being attacked, our freedoms, our Constitution, our rights, and most of it, our government, both federal and state, if they are not directly pushing it, they are at least complicit in some way, shape, or form.
And I'm just going to tell you, I believe the Bible over everything else, and I don't see America mentioned in the end times. So without America cannot be even as strong as it is now, even with the feckless, terrible leadership that we have now. It even has to get even worse, and for the Antichrist to come in and take over the beast system. And I really believe in all my heart that in order for the United States to fall, Tennessee has to fall first. We're the ones that has to go, and then our nation goes. And that's the reason I feel like I've had to get involved. I mean, Brandon will tell you, Brandon tells jokes about me all the time. He's like, look, can you guys believe what I've got Lawrence to do? I mean, but I have to. I have to do this not only for my children, but other people's children. And I have to do it for the citizens of Lawrence County. It is something that God's placed on my heart, and I've tried to get rid of it. I'm telling you, I'm Jonah in Nineveh, and I ran from it. And thank God I didn't get cast in the sea and swallowed by a whale. The God tormented me almost as bad by sending Brandon to me, instead of the whale. But maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't get off easy, I guess.
You know who the most reluctant person was to do the radio show was Lawrence. And he's took to it. I mean, he has really jumped in here on it. But when we started talking about it, he was one of the most reluctant guys to get involved, Dave. And then look at him.
And now you can't shut him up, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's found his calling. He's going to stay the night here tonight. We're going to lock him in the radio station when we leave.
Oh boy, poor Charlotte WDXE. And that's the other thing too. We got a great radio station here, and we got great ownerships of this radio station that gives us actual free speech. The very first radio program we ever did, I actually used the word sodomite to talk about homosexuals.
Right.
And I told Brandon, I go, oh no, I probably shouldn't have said that. And Charlotte came up to me the next time she saw me. She goes, that was awesome. She goes, half of Lawrence County was Googling, or they got out their dictionary looking up.
Well, now 40 years ago, they would have known what that was.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. So, I tell you, as you can tell, we try to have fun. We pick on each other all the time, all in good fun, and also to bring up entertainment. But how me and Brandon are here right now on the radio station is how we are in church even. I mean, this is my pastor, and I don't know of too many pastors that I feel like that I've had in my life that I could speak freely like I have. And I mean, I've dropped just about every word, on Brandon, and I don't have to worry about the reprisal from it. He may say a couple things underneath his breath, praying to God for me.
A lot of prayer going on behind the scenes, folks. Behind the scenes. Don't pull back the curtain.
Well, hey, guys, I really appreciate you coming on. And I think you guys probably have to be the only county party in the state, and maybe in the nation, I don't know, that has their own radio show every week. I think that's great. And you guys are doing a great job. When I was on your show sometime last month, how fast that hour went.
Yes.
And so this one has gone fast as well. It's already been an hour, a little bit over, but I've enjoyed it, and I'd love to have you guys come back on. I've certainly come on yours anytime I can make it. That's a good little haul, though. I will tell you that. That's a good little haul to drive down there.
It is, but you know what? We're getting better. We got this up now, so next time we have you on, we can do it by Zoom now because they figured out how to do it. And I'm going to tell you, I credit WDXE because, you know, when me and you first started talking about this, you know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I didn't think it was going to happen. And WDXE, they put in a lot of man hours to make this happen.
Well, I've got to give a plug for my producer as well, Kevin Kill, and I appreciate that. Kill Media,
yes.
Kill Media, great. And now he does several shows, okay, and this guy's a pro. This, you know, he's done other things for, you know, he's been involved with other things. Good Day Paris is one show that he does. And I know not long ago, he's involved with an actual movie that was filmed here. I don't know the name of it. I'm sure he'll let me know whenever it all comes out. But he top notch, and I do appreciate what he does.
I heard him as they were setting up the Zoom, and I'll brag on him. He was top shelf all the way. It's an honor to work with people like that.
Yes.
We appreciate you, Dave. Yeah. And if anything we can do for you, call us, my friend.
Well, same here, and I will see you guys tomorrow at the Capitol.
Yes, sir. You know where to find us at, don't you? And,
oh, yeah.
And you know that you have access to everything that they have given to us. I mean, we want you to come in with us as much as you want to. I mean, that what we've been given by the Lord, we want to extend to you because you're part of it with us.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And once again, thanks for coming on.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
Thank everybody for joining us this week. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Next week, our guest will be Richard Archie, and of course, we'll be discussing whatever comes out of this session. Hopefully, you know, hope against hope that it gets adjourned, but at least, hopefully, we don't actually lose any rights when it's all said and done. And next week, by the way, we'll be back to our regular time of 7 o'clock. Thanks again. See you next week.